Hello, it is Friday, and we are back with another episode of your favorite podcast. And in this segment of Book Club Fridays, I know, I haven't done a Book Club Friday episode in a hot minute, but let me tell you, because life has been so crazy, the reading has not been a top priority. But we are back, and today in this episode, we are going to talk about some of the latest trends in the book world. And I'm also going to rate and review a couple of the reads that I have had over the last few months. So settle in, grab your favorite beverage, and let's get started. All right. First and foremost, we cannot talk about book world and the book trends and the way things have shifted over the last few years without talking about Bookstagram and Book Talk. These two things have changed the game. They have breathed new life into the love of books and the enjoyment of reading. And it's so exciting. It's so exciting. Now, I do know, and I have seen online kind of the darker side of these aspects too, and, not aligning or agreeing with certain people on the way that they choose to live their lives or what they believe in. That's not the side of it that I like to get into. I like the part of it that brings connection and brings people together to talk about books and the things that they love and these stories and how they relate to our own lives or how they don't relate to anything realistic at all, but they give us a place to escape to that just feels really good. And as a writer myself, it's so cool to see how it's given authors this place to really express their creativity and to connect with their audiences. Like back in the day, there used to be message boards and chat rooms, but now it's so much easier to access because, again, it's on our phones, and that comes with the positive and the negative side of it. But I just think it's so cool and unique to be able to have conversations with these authors. I know it makes me feel so good when I've had authors comment or like the reviews or the reels that I have posted about their stories that I have read. And as a writer myself, it's been so fun to be able to create content for my characters and post it online and see how people respond and like it. So I think there's so many different aspects that just bring so many cool, refreshing ways to connect to books to life in this present day and in this new way. And another thing that I think that just like is really, really cool and unique is that it's given these books that have been published in past years a new life. And they've been reintroduced to new audiences all over the world through social media. And I actually did a little research because since Bookstagram and Book Talk started, it has increased book sales by over 9%. And again, I love books. I love to read. I think it's so, you know, cool and unique to be able to talk to people that I don't even know about these stories and the people in my everyday life, my best friends and my mom, and how we trade books back and forth. And it just gives us something to talk about that lights me up and it lights them up because it's so fun. It's just fun. And the way that people have created communities that are supporting their lives. People are making money and it's creating jobs and from the privacy of their own homes. Like just because they read books. And I think that that's like it's kind of a dream job, but also I don't know if I would have the the capacity to like full blown bookstagrammer or book talker. I love doing these little bits and pieces of it, but I love it and it's so fun to watch. And I take so many reviews and recommendations from these platforms and, save them for later and add them to my TBR and all of that. So I don't know. It's really cool and it's really unique. And like I said, I don't like to dive into the dark side of all of that because I think people have a right to have their own opinions and have different perspectives. And so I don't like to necessarily get caught up in the drama of it all because I think when we start attacking people like influencers or authors or artists, whatever they may be, we can feel this entitlement because we've put them on a pedestal. And I don't believe in putting people on pedestals. I think it's beautiful to admire people's work, but just because you are a consumer of their creativity doesn't mean that you know them as a person. And so then to go in and like tear people down and tear their work down because you've put them on this pedestal and like expected them to believe and live and share the same ideals as you is like gray area there. I just don't feel like that's healthy for anybody. So again, this is what the side of Bookstagram and Book Talk that I love is the place that like gives us something to talk about that doesn't come from gossip in our lives or negativity, and the place that allows us to be able to make friends from the other side of the world. And it just allows us to get to know others through a different lens. And then again, be able to like swap recommendations and books and things that we liked and didn't liked and didn't liked. I can't speak. Like and didn't like from these stories that have been created. And also, it's made it so easy to find new authors. It's made it so much easier for indie authors to self-publish and then down the road get picked up by a traditional publisher. And it's expanded what the writing world looks like as a whole. And I think that, again, as a reader and a writer, it's really convenient, but it's also just really beautiful to watch it evolve and change over time to be able to find new writers that I love, meet new people, share my own stories, and just like get feedback on the work that I've created. It literally inspired an entire episode segment on this podcast. So, yes, we're a big fan. Another thing that I feel like is becoming really popular again, and I think it is so cool. I love this comeback. This is like such a cool comeback, is that book clubs are becoming a hot new thing. And I myself am a part of a book club that you don't read the same book every month, like all of you together, but everyone shows up to talk about one of their favorite books that they have read in the last month. And so it's so fun to hear like stories that maybe you never would have thought of picking up, but now like have an interest in because you heard somebody talking about it, and you get to share the books that you loved and why you loved them. And I think it gives us, again, a connection that we've all been craving. I think, especially since 2020, we were all so isolated and separated from each other. And now, more than ever, so many of us are craving community. From an astrological perspective, it's also because Pluto has moved into Aquarius. So, side note, it's definitely a very overarching theme for this phase of life and the next 20 years. So I think it's really cool and I'm really excited to be a part of it. And as a writer, there's nothing more fun than creating a community around your books and stories because even from the beginning, feedback is really important. and having others enjoy what you are writing can help keep you inspired and give you the fuel to keep going. Or at least that's been my experience. I started writing on Wattpad back in 2020 under the name Paige Morgan, which Morgan is my mom's maiden name. And literally through that platform, I've met other author friends and readers who have inspired and encouraged me to keep doing what I love. I've spent a lot of time feeling more comfortable sharing my books with strangers than I have with people in my real life. But again, like I've talked about previously in another book club Friday episode, is that like that is changing for me. And these platforms like Wattpad and Substack and Reddit and Tumblr, like all of those are, I think, really good starting points for people to just start expressing themselves. It doesn't have to be perfect. And it's fun to see how these apps and online technology can serve us in a way of connection and not just continual consumption. I mean, yeah, I'm still buying books, but you get my point. And oh gosh, sorry, my chair sounded like it was about to break. But I wanted to talk about this because I think it's important to remind people and remind myself that it's never too late to start a new fun hobby. It's never too late to start expressing your creativity in a different way. And I think writing can be so cathartic and so good for so many people, but so many people are so afraid to try. They're so afraid to start. I being one of them. That's why I started writing under an alias. I didn't want people to know that it was me. And now I obviously talk about it and I'm more confident and forthcoming with that information. But, you can never doubt what writing can do for your life. And again, whether you share it or not, maybe it's on a blog, maybe it's in a journal, maybe it's under a secret pen name. I mean, it doesn't matter how it comes out. It's just that you get it out, that you put it out there. You put pen to paper or fingertips to keyboard and just create a story from your imagination. It's so fun. So many of us did that when we were younger, whether it was by playing pretend or writing stories and creating books. It can be just for the sake of bringing you joy. And it doesn't have to be perfect, and it gets to evolve over time. And as someone who still struggles with imposter syndrome, I mean, my books have like over 40,000 reads on Wattpad. So there's gotta be something good in there. Um, and yeah, so I just want to encourage you. If writing is something that you've ever wanted to explore, it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm telling myself that every single day. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just give it a shot. Like, just let yourself free write. Just let yourself create that story that pops into the back of your mind. It doesn't matter what it is, and it doesn't matter if it's good or not. What it matters is that it can make you feel more connected to yourself, to your intuition, and to your imagination. So let yourself have some fun. And also, if you're not a reader, audiobooks are always super great too. You don't even have to write. If you're doing it for yourself, you can do voice notes. Those are always great. I mean, my voice notes are like maxed out half the time because I just talk to myself. I promise I'm not crazy, only a little. Um, but yeah, I think no matter what form they come in, books can bring people together, and it's just magical to watch it happen. So that is my spiel on the good stuff and the ways in which these book trends have, I don't know, shaped and shifted my perspective over time. So now we are going to dive in to a couple of my current reads. Like I said, reading and listening has slowed down significantly because life has been cuckoo bananas, like I have shared in my last few episodes. And I have found myself unable to read more than like a chapter at a time. And so I'm just not getting through books as quickly because I can't focus very well. My ADHD is ADHD. That is for sure. And that's okay. We're going to give ourselves grace, even though we are way behind on our book count goal for the year. I literally lost the word in my brain. So the first book I listened to on audio, this book is very short. It's only 2.5 hours long. And it has been on my TBR forever. I've had so many people tell me, you need to read this, you need to read this, you need to read this. And so one day I was finally like, okay, I'm going to listen to it on Spotify because it was free if you have premium. So you're welcome for that. But I firmly believe that I listened to it at exactly the right time. Like I said, things have been crazy and things have been chaotic. And again, astrologically, I am going through a lot of transits in regards to my mental health, clarity, communication, and way that I process things. Hello, Neptune and Mercury coming together to make me a little cuckoo bananas at the moment. But I listened to the Four Agreements, and I loved how this book really simplified the way to look at our mindset and the lens through which you view the world. This book breaks down how you can really shift your belief systems and change your life by beginning to live in a new system rather than repeating the old one that we were conditioned with as young children. Like I said, I finally listened to it at the right time because my mind has been very chaotic these days. And, we threw in a Mercury retrograde, so that got even a little bit crazier. But, to like put it all into perspective, from the root of all of the mindset shifts, it doesn't matter what you do. What matters is what you believe. And this book breaks down how those belief systems are created within us and then how we can shift them so that we can live a life that serves us and let go of what no longer is. And it teaches us these new agreements that can be made with ourselves to be able to step into a new reality. And again, so there's 4 agreements, and the way that they're broken down and explained is just very easy to understand. It's very simplified and it's possible to integrate. It's not like, you're getting all of this advice that is unattainable. Okay. This book is just very, very easy to digest, and it's very, very easy to start integrating into your life, even if it's a slow process to actually shift all of those belief systems. So I don't know. What it got me thinking about was how negatively my belief systems can reflect on my reality, and reminded me that I forget so often to be grateful for all that I have rather than constantly wanting something different or wanting more. And it made me see how I was playing a victim in certain circumstances and how that mindset was not going to actually get me the success that I've been dreaming of achieving. And it reminded me how powerful our words are, and that if we wield them with respect and integrity, they can create a lasting ripple effect through the world. And the same can be said if they are spoken with negativity and poor intent. So it really had me thinking about the intentions that I set with the way that I live and the way that I think about my life and the beliefs that I have around what I do and how I show up and what I say and how I interact with the world around me and the people around me. So, lots of really good stuff. Lots of really good stuff came up for me while I was listening to it. And like I said, it was just really easy to digest and to begin like integrating those new agreements into my life. Now, it's not perfect, but it's definitely helped open my eyes to see a lot from a different perspective. I rated this book a 5-star, And I truly believe that it's like a good read or listen for anyone who wants to see change in their life for the better. And I mean, who doesn't? Who doesn't want that? So go check it out. All right. Next, we have Beneath the Sand. Seriously, words are not wording today. We have Beneath the Stands by Emily McIntyre. And this is book 2 in the Sugar Lake series. I talked about book 1, Beneath the Stars, a few weeks ago, and I thoroughly enjoyed that one. But what I'm loving about this series, again, I'm only in 2 books and there's 4, so halfway done. But what I am loving about this series is how much therapy is a part of the storyline. And it's not just for one character. And it's not like all of these characters have experienced all of this trauma and then they're just solving it together through life and it's magically all better. Like, no, they are going to rehab and family therapy, individual therapy, group therapy, learning how to set boundaries, learning how to communicate, overcoming limiting beliefs. It's all very, very relatable stuff. And so that's been really refreshing and inspiring. I love how she's how she's written that and how each character's arc is continuing to improve through each book. And you can see how the ripple effect is affecting everyone involved. And then now going through each book and each couple, you get different perspectives as you hear from each of the characters in their own stories. So I just think that that's like really cool and unique that literally like, all of these people are ending up in therapy in different forms. And so they're like really doing the work to make their lives and their relationships better. And I just love how that is depicted so far. So I'm hoping that continues through the next 2 books. This book was also very spicy in comparison to the first, which was super fun. The FMC and the MMC just have like a very fiery banter and chemistry and connection. And so that is always intriguing to me. Like, I love a nice, sassy FMC, and it's it was really juicy, and I loved that. Some of the dialogue still felt a little cheesy to me, but again, it's takes place in Tennessee, and so like that the Southern accent, I think, is what made it feel that way. It's just a personal preference. But yeah, I just really enjoyed their banter and the way that they pushed each other. Their names were Eli and Becca. Well, Elliot and Rebecca, but Eli and Becca for short. And yeah, they definitely both had their own unique baggage that they brought to the table. But again, really cool to see how their relationships were intertwined with the other characters that we had already been introduced to and how they take their unique approaches to be able to get the help and start healing in the way that they need. I feel like this author writes an MMC very, very well. And I'm really excited to keep reading the rest of the series. I rated this book a 4-star and I'm excited to see what happens next. So, all right, guys. Well, that's all we've got this week. Short and sweet. Please make sure that you rate, review, subscribe. Come say hi over on Instagram, TikTok, or Facebook at Turn the Page Podcast. And as always, thank you for being here. Yeah.